Today we talk about and try to answer the question, are you on the right path for your life? And it has to do with your personal life. It has to do with your professional life, your hobbies, your crafts. This is a question that I get a lot, and I've really been digging into it. And today we're going to focus on that. And we're focusing on it because it's important to one, ensure we don't have regret long term in our life based on our decisions. And then two, understanding what changing paths means. And if you think about those two things as you weigh your decisions and what you're looking at in life, you'll truly find um, the best way to achieve the results you want in the shortest amount of time. Now, with that being said, what does it mean to be on the right path? To be on the right path, whether it's a part of your life, things that you're trying to build on, your health and your fitness, your business, your pursuits, your progression as a team member, an employee. A path is something that was kind of established, let's say, through grade school. You were used to going through the numbers. And as you go through each number, you know there's another one right ahead of it. And so that's the path. The path is, in order for me to get an education and succeed in school, I need to go through these steps, this path. Now, that's not the only path to get an education. Many people happily, successfully do private school out of public education, a different path, achieving the same goal. Others work through homeschool and smaller group frameworks. Also, same result, different path. The path is how we are achieving it, but the goal and the outcome are one and the same, to be educated and to be capable in the pursuits of our life. Now, the challenges for most people is when you are free, when you finish high school and you can do whatever you want. You choose to go through college, great. You get another 4 years of that's progression, structure, I would say kind of the safety walls of life. But at some point, you break free. You become an independent thinker, an independent operator, and your own human. And you can choose to pursue happiness and create abundance in your life, whether it's physically, emotionally, spiritually. You can travel the world. You can live anywhere. You can do many things. You have that freedom. And technically, you had that freedom from the beginning. It was only a path we chose to go through an education program, 1 through 12, and then, of course, college, if you chose. Now, that being said, this is one example. But it's that moment of freedom, of choice, where people really start to have to think, well, what do I want? What do I want? Because if I know what I want, then I can decide that's the path for me. Do I want to be a doctor and do surgeries? Great. Well, then I probably should study how to do that. Do I want to be a world-class mountaineer or ski instructor or working in the oceans with animals? Well, then I should probably put myself in circles with people that can give me the experience so that I can develop the capability and capacity to do that. Each one of these paths are available to anyone, and you can join any path at an entry level at any time. As you go through your life, and I have done this many times, you have to recognize that you are starting from the bottom. Each time you restart a path, a different path than you're on, you start at entry level, if we were thinking about it from a business context, or as someone's not experienced, someone who should probably be interning or kind of shadowing someone who knows what they're doing. You certainly don't want to day one, if you're going to be climbing mountains with people, you don't want to go up the first day of a giant mountain without any ropes attached because you want to, right? You cannot do that. You most likely are going to fall off the face of the mountain without experience understanding to use ropes and anchors and how to move through the mountain. And that's true with any path. And that's awesome, right? Because that means that if you have a mindset of, I can choose any path I want, anytime, as long as I'm okay, personally, starting again at the bottom. And if you're okay with that, you have the world at your fingertips. You can always, always change and do things. If you look at people um, ages 20, 18, some 16, they're always, I would say, fretting about what am I going to do with my life? Well, if you look at people that are 50, 55, maybe they're retiring, maybe they're on their fifth profession, maybe they've been doing the same thing the entire time. They're planning to do other things and try new things. That might be traveling and experiencing the world. It might be creating robots. It might be building houses around the world. Without experience and sight, we forget that you can always change, and there's no penalty for trying new paths. It is only in our younger years do we feel like we must know it now. And in later in life, do you recognize that you have gone on many paths? So, one, do not have path fears of which one you should jump in. Do not be concerned about starting a new path. Be okay with the entry level concept and learning as fast as possible. But that will be helpful to you. Now, a positive thing about switching paths is that they can feed into each other. You can gain experience on one path that feeds into another. I was working with a teacher of many decades, and she wants to get into cybersecurity. Now, she knows absolutely nothing about cybersecurity and the technology that underlays it, but she's going to school to learn. But she has incredible human skills, organization, planning, management. All of those aspects are phenomenally important and needed in the cybersecurity profession. Does that mean she's going to be a hacker? Maybe. But more likely, she's going to be running large groups. Could she be a product owner? She could be a chief of staff. She could do so many amazing things. But it just reinforces that you can go on one path and hop to another and then bring some of that skill set and move you along nicely, put you in a proper place to doing great work. Now, skills do transfer between paths. So you're not always going to end at the very bottom. But even if you do start at the entry level, because of your prior skills, your ability to critical think, your ability to problem solve, and your ability to work with people in a team atmosphere, you will probably accelerate very fast. So another benefit of being you is that, one, you can choose paths and choose new ones throughout your life. Two, paths can support you accelerating your speed and doing more. That is awesome. That is super, super impressive. So with that benefit, you will look at a third thing, which is not positive, but we do need to talk about it. And that has to do specifically on the cost of changing paths, meaning that there's not always just, no cost to switching paths. There is a cost. And so the cost of switching often is if you cannot carry over some of those skill sets. You will, as you're popping back and forth between paths, there can be a dragging of your speed and growth in that area. Now, I know it runs kind of counter that you can gain benefits from switching, but if you spent 10 years as a engineer programming, and then you wanted to be a horse veterinarian, you're gonna really take another probably 3 to 6 years of schooling before you can actually do the work that you'd like to do. So there is a switching cost in that scenario when your paths that you're working against, really there's just a lot of upfront load learning that you just cannot transfer easily. So that is certainly a cost to consider. Now, there's a classic line that focuses on the what happens with, sorry, there was a distraction outside. What happens with all the options and all of the roads? The answer is all roads lead somewhere, but not all lead where you want to be. And I like that quote because too often we think about things as, well, I'll just do this and I'll get where I want to go. And that's not always true. We need to make sure we are mindful of where we are going. And because we don't always know where we're going, we don't always know how we're going to get there. The short answer is, well, how do we find out if we know how we're going to get there? Or we want to get to where we're going? And that answer is actually quite easy. In order to find out if you want to go where you're going, you should try things. Or as another person would say, you should taste it. Do you like lasagna? I don't know. Try it. Do you like salad? Try it. And if you don't like that salad, try lots of different salads, right? You should taste and sample and experience maybe where you want to go or where you think you want to go. And that's a principle that I really want to make sure you take away from this discussion is if you've never done it, if you've never experienced the goal of what you're trying to accomplish and achieve and maybe grow into as be a professional, you should try it, right? If you've always wanted to live on a boat and you've never slept on a boat, probably should save some money and maybe go out to an ocean and sleep on a boat, a small one, moderately sized, perhaps not a cruise ship, guys. Let's go with something that we're gonna buy and sleep on it for 2 nights and live that life. You might be like, I love the ocean, I love wildlife, I love this. I do not like the feeling I have on the ocean. Then maybe lake life is for you. But you wouldn't know that if you didn't taste it and try it. So when you're thinking about our paths, if we know that switching is possible at any time in our life, and we know that things can carry and serve and have us accelerate in different paths, we know that there's a switching cost if we jump pretty far to the left or the right of whatever we're on. How do we optimize? How do we make sure we have the best possible results, that we have the highest probability of liking where we end in the paths that we choose? That's tasting, which we just covered, trying things. And that might be just interning. If you've never worked in a movie studio, if you've never, worked with athletes, you could intern and volunteer your time and get access to being able to do that kind of thing. So take advantage of that, go at it. I think it's most important when we think about these things is to try, create, and experience. Too often we focus in our minds. We're always digital, and I love digital, but you can visualize things and you can see things on TV, you can watch things on the internet. But if you don't put your hands in it, if you don't try it and you don't try to create it, you're not going to experience it. You're going to see somebody else experience it. And how do you know that's what you want? You don't. I'm just being honest. Like, you will not know that you want to do that unless you do that thing. So try things, create things, tinker, try to make something. Now, understand, I'm not saying I don't want to be a cliff diver. I don't know if I want to be a cliff diver. I don't just jump off a cliff, right? Maybe be around people that are cliff diving. Maybe work with some professionals as an intern, or do bungee jumping. Like, there's versions of what you want to do that you can embrace for a minor amount of money, and you can achieve a great exposure to tell you if you want to really do the thing that you say you want to do. So that is what I want to share today. I wrote a really important article for myself. I'm going to put it into the description. I hope it helps you. I try to consolidate my thinking around here and what helped me. And I'm still working on this. I've been a professional. I've been an athlete. I was a coach. I've mentor individuals for the last 15 years and have brought people through really tough experiences. And I've also been an executive and a technologist and an inventor and a salesman and so many different things. And I love every one of them. Do they all feed each other 100%? No. To have a good time doing it, 100%. So try things, taste things. Don't be afraid, but make sure you put yourself on a path that serves you based on your own experience and what you're looking for. That is how you'll find your best self and will make you the happiest you are looking to be. And the impact you're going to have in the world will reflect that effort. So enjoy. The only finish line is the finish line that you accept, and the choice that you're making today is your choice. So choose a good one that you want to choose.